Tom, I mean, we have to be very clear here. I mean, this publication doesn't say outright that anything that's happened yet is illegal, but you think this is pretty damning, in particular for the Irish government, don't you?
Absolutely. This is basically the kind of background to why they're having an investigation. So this is the defence, really, of the probe. And the basis of that, of course, is Irish documents themselves. So this is not sort of how the Commission has assessed the numbers and said whether they're correct or not. What they've done is they've gone to the Irish government and
said... So you think they've hung themselves?
Well, the documents don't read very well. Basically, what they depicted are conversations between Apple representatives and Ministry of Finance, or sorry, tax officials in Ireland, which really appear rather cosy. We see that there's an admission on the part of the people involved that there's no scientific basis for any of these agreements as to what the tax should be. And also we see, of course, reference to concerns about employment.
Yeah, let me ask you about that, because, I mean, you say damning for the Irish government, but it's damning, I would have thought you'd think, for Apple too. I mean, you've got excerpts in this document that says Apple, mentioned by way of background information, is now the largest employer in the Cork area, blah, 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 and at present it's reviewing its worldwide operations and wishes to establish a profit margin on its Irish operations.
It's interesting. I mean, I guess the question, was that by background? If you start a conversation just by informing somebody that you're a major employer who may not be in the future a major employer, some people could interpret that as a little bit threatening. And certainly, the Irish government, particularly back in times like 1991, was well before the Irish Tiger, really took off, Celtic Tiger took off. So there would, this does raise questions. Ireland has denied that employment was a consideration. They say they've always followed the rules. Apple has said there was never any quid pro quo. So
but to publish a document like this is unusual, isn't it? So do you suspect that there's fines coming the way of either Ireland or Apple?
Well, the difficulty here is we're in uncharted water. Now, people at the Commission have said it's within their power to rule that Apple has received unfair state aid and should repay that money. In this case, this could reach to many billions of dollars.
Which isn't a lot.
Well, for Apple, that's not that much. It's not. But the question is, we don't know if that can really be enforced. So a lot of tax experts say it's just we haven't established these precedents. So it could be a case rather that Dublin just has to change the way it does business moving forward.
Well, so companies like Apple, I mean, Apple might just up sticks, right? That could be.
Absolutely. I mean, Apple is a highly mobile company. I mean, realistically, if we look at the kind of information that's come out in US congressional investigations and elsewhere, we see that the company moves tens of billions of dollars around with incredible ease.
Let me just ask you, what about other corporations? Because this isn't just about Ireland and Apple, is it? It's about other European countries and other big corporates.
Absolutely. Well, this specific investigation also involves Fiat, the Italian car company in Luxembourg, and also activities of Starbucks in the Netherlands. But of course, if you look at the broader reform programme around corporate taxation, many companies, including Google and others, the practices that they engage in are also under scrutiny.